Wabarakatuh. Terima kasih pengacara majlis Yang amat bahagia Datin Seri Diraja Sharifah binti Zulkifli, Yang berhormat Dato' Rohana Abdul Malik, Penasihat Undang-Undang Kerajaan Negeri Perak, Yang berhormat Datuk Ghazali Jalal, Pegawai Keuangan Negeri, Pegawai Utama, jemputan-jemputan dan hadirin yang saya hormati sekalian. Sebagai pihak Universiti Sultan Azhar Shah, saya ingin mengucapkan banyak terima kasih kepada kerajaan negeri yang telah memberi sokongan kepada penganjuran majlis ini yang merupakan prelude kepada the 5th World Conference on Islamic Thought and Civilization yang akan diadakan pada bulan Julai nanti. The World Conference on Islamic Thought and Civilization is an annual international conference series organized by Sultan Azhar Shah University since 2012, which was a brainchild of Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Diraja Dr. Sabria The theme for WCIT 2018 is Securing the Future, a continuation of last year's theme of global peace. It can be observed that despite the advancement of mankind, the challenges from the time of Adam remain the same, if not more dire. We progress with civilization, however, we also regress in some other aspect. Compassion, humanity, and moral are nowadays scarce and to a certain extreme shortchanged. In February 2016, the Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Diraja Dr. Zamri Abdul Kadir launched the No One is Left Out, No One is Marginalized campaign. The duty of ensuring a better future should transcend geographically, political, cultural, racial, and religious boundaries. We are one as the citizen of the world. No one is to be left behind as we continue to progress. Stripping off all the labels, all of us bleed red and are able of hurting and being hurt. That should make us more sensitive to the need of others. Hence, the talk today by our esteemed guest, Sister Sabria, on compassion without borders could not be any more fitting. Her philanthropic works has won her the heart of many across geographical borders and labels. Providing for people in need is not just a social responsibility, it is also an investment to local and global stability. It is of great honor to have her here to share her experience and further inspire us all in making a difference towards a better future of starting off a ripple that makes waves. Hadirin sekalian, saya membaca latar belakang apa yang telah diusulkan oleh Sister Sabria. Sangat menyentuh perasaan. Tak boleh diuraikan panjang, siapa yang rajin baca ataupun Google, ada di dalam internet. On behalf of the organizer, allow me to express our gratitude and thanks to Sister Sabria for taking the time to be here to share her experiences with wisdom with us. Your presence here means a lot to our collective commitment and responsibility towards the achievement of the objectives of WCIT 2018. I hope you'll be here with us in July, which we believe will be constructive to the world at present and in the future. I would like to encourage everyone here to take full advantage of the excellent opportunity during this event to deliberate extensively on the necessary and practical measures to instigate change. Let me also take this opportunity and being opportunist to announce a bit about USAS. As a university, USAS sees itself carrying the responsibility in providing credible education and training, ensuring the skill and intellectual development of those seeking knowledge, nurturing an intellectual tradition and academic culture that fulfill shareholders' best interests are the inspiration of the institution. USAS currently offers 5 masters in 4 PhD programs for postgraduate studies. For your information, Sister Sabria, in last year's convocation or congregation in less than 2 years since this university upgraded into full-fledged university. We have managed graduated 41 masters in management and also in Islamic studies. On behalf of USAS, I welcome the audience to be part of USAS for lifelong learning and personal development. Sebelum saya mengakhiri ucapan ini, sekali lagi saya ingin mengucapkan banyak terima kasih kepada hadirin yang sangat dihormati kerana sudi bersama-sama kami, terutama kepada Yang Amat Bahagia Datin Seri dan kepada Kerajaan Negeri Perak yang sentiasa memberi sokongan tidak henti-hentinya kepada kemajuan dan juga perkembangan USAS. InsyaAllah kepercayaan yang diberikan kepada kami akan kami tunaikan sepenuhnya. May our congregation of mind today will show us ways in nurturing a brighter world, insyaAllah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Majlis mengatakan ucapan bangga dan terima kasih atas ucapan yang telah disampaikan oleh Yang Bahagia Tan Sri Profesor Dr. Nordin Kadir, Naib Chancellor Universiti Sultan Azman Shah Sabariah.
The selfless act of a Malaysian who resides in Canada received the attention of the world when she decided to contribute to the welfare of the local community who are in need. Born in Johor Bahru, Sister Sabria lived in Singapore since she was 3, when the family moved there due to her father's job as a teacher. The third of 6 siblings, she inherited the flair of cooking from her mother. The Malaysian, currently residing in Canada for the past 30 years, has caught global attention with her contribution to the homeless after being featured on a documentary by Zing.
Every single night I would question myself, who did I help today? And when I get up in the morning, I would question myself, who am I going to help today? You know that I'm already 70. My clock is ticking. This is a very limited time that I have to do good. I try to inspire the Muslim youth by saying that no, you should go out all the way to help whoever needs help. Then they will see the other side of a Muslim. What they hear usually is the bad part. So no, Muslims are not bad people after all. I see the smiles on the volunteers' faces as they help me, and then those people on the receiving end also with smiles, so it makes my day.
Sabariah, who is well known as Sister Sabariah to the Canadians, first arrived in Canada after completing her international culinary studies in Kuala Lumpur. The receiver of the 2015 Inspiring Women Award holds on to her own principle of success with the aim to portray the positive side of Islam to all Canadians. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Sister Sabria Hussien, the founder of Sister Sabria Foundation.
Dan menutup majlis dengan segala hormat dan kecintaannya, mempersilakan ke atas pentas Sister Sabria. Majlis juga mempersilakan selaku moderator ke atas pentas Yang Besar Dr. Roslan bin Abdul Rahim. Dipersilakan. Untuk itu saya serahkan sesi executive talk kepada moderator. Dipersilakan.
Kita ambil horizontal, vertical.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang berbahagia Datin Sri Diraja Syarifah Zulkifli, isteri kepada Yang Maha Berhormat Datuk Sri Diraja Dr. Zamran Abdul Qadir, Yang Berhormat Datuk Rohana binti Abdul Malik, Penasihat Undang-Undang Negeri Perak, Yang Berhormat Datuk Haji Muhammad Lazali bin Jalal, Pegawai Keuangan Negeri Perak, Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Profesor Dr. Nordin Kardi, Naib Chancellor Universiti Sultan Azlan Shah, dan Puan Sri Sabariah binti Muhammad Sharif. Yang berbahagia Profesor Dato' Dr. Wan Sobri bin Wan Yusuf, Timbalan Naib Chancellor Universiti Sultan Azlan Shah. Yang berhormat ahli-ahli Majlis Mesyuarah Kerajaan Negeri yang berusaha, Puan Sharifah Sabariah Hussien, pengasas Sister Sabariah Foundation. Yang berbahagia Ketua-Ketua Jabatan Negeri dan Persekutuan, yang berbahagia Datuk-Datuk, pengamal-pengamal media, dip-dip jemputan, seterusnya hadirin yang dihormati sekalian. I feel so privileged today to be beside a very humble, gentle lady. I was so touched when I had a small conversation with her earlier today, this morning. Don't look at the size of her frame, because she betrays the quality, the decency, the strength, the power and conviction of what we Muslims should be like. And I'm talking about none other than Sister Sabariah Hussien, or who is better well known as Sister Sabria in Montreal. I will not, normally when we conduct a session, an interview or a panel session, we would begin with conveying the bio of the guest of honor. But today, I will not be reciting her bio, because she is her bio herself. When she speaks, her bio will unfold by itself. So we get to understand Sister Sabria through my interaction and conversation with her on the stage this morning. We will have two segments to this session. One is my personal conversation with Sister Sabria, and she'll be sharing with us her experience and all her work. And then the second segment will be the Q&A. One of the greatest challenges that I faced before I conducted this session, I did some research last night because I have been so busy. And the greatest challenge is this. She was first featured as a video, inform us, by the ZIG organization. And then it was picked up by the Montreal Gazette. She was featured in the Montreal Gazette last June 2017. Followed by CTV on the 21st of June last year, and then about Islam.net in August, followed by the organization SAIS also last year in August, and then the hijabista.com.my on September 23rd. And this year alone, before coming to Perak, she was interviewed by IKIM FN, by UPM Business School, by NTV7, TV9, and I just saw she was also with UTM, and we are the last. So I'm wondering what kind of questions I could ask her, because by now she would have been asked repeated questions. Probably some of the questions are recurring. And so I said, okay, many people have asked the questions, So what can I do? How can I create the twist so that you get both the basic information about Sister Sabariah, at the same time I do not bore her with repeated questions that she has always been bombarded with. So anyway, personally, I have appreciated Sister Sabariah overnight, and my appreciation has grown from not knowing her to disbelief to awe and now simply admiration. She's an embodiment, in my opinion, of the human decency and qualities that the Quran outlines and encourages. And she's been dubbed, as a video shows us, as a Mother Teresa. She's a human with an angelic heart. So, let me begin with that. Sister Sabria.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Just relax, take it easy. You know, anggaplah ini anak-anak, adik, kawan-kawan, okay? And that I'm not here, okay? You just hear my whispers and tell us. You have been dubbed as the Mother Teresa of the Muslim world. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We are interested to know of your journey, the long road to charity. How did you first start from Malaysia to Canada, and why Canada? Silakan.
At the beginning part of my life, my journey begins when I was very little. I grew up in, I was born in Johor Bahru, Wadihana, but when my father, my late Allah Yarham Hussien Haji Muhammad, got a job in Singapore, so we migrated there. But fortunately, also he was born in Singapore. My mom was from Johor. So there I grew up. Because I had to share with so many of my siblings, so I learned from day one, like how to share and care. And of course, you know, we have the hustles, and with a big family, because my parents would take more yateens, more asnaf that can stay with us and be with us together. And of course, with all that, I learned to share at a very young age, in spite of the fact there are days that I didn't enjoy much because of the sharing, being a little child. But Alhamdulillah, with all the books and clothes and food that we had to share, I grew up to understand later that this is what I want in my life because of the encouragements from my parents from day one. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. That was a very humble and noble beginning. The video tells us that you started with the culinary school. You studied cooking, international cuisine in Kuala Lumpur. Yeah. So how did you make that jump, that leap from cooking into charity?
As I've said, charity begins at home. I was very little when my parents, my mom especially in particular, she used to cook for free, even if it means for 1,000 people. Because today we call it catering services, but those days it was not known as catering services. So what we did is, should be cooking for the needy, for the Asnaf families who wanted to have ceremonies, wedding ceremonies, and even to the extent that she would accept any gifts from them. And I used to ask her, I said, of course she's Malay, so I had to speak Malay to her. And I asked my mom, I said, Mak, kenapa Mak tak dibayar? Kenapa Mak ambil itu? Dia kata, kesian, orang tu miskin. Nanti kalau kita ambil walaupun sikit, nanti mungkin dia nak gunakan duit itu untuk benda-benda lain. Jadi Mak kesian, kita Alhamdulillah ada rezeki. Walaupun ayah awak tak lagi, tak berapa besar, tapi kita ni benda anak yatim, jadi mesti ada barakahnya. So I keep on thinking that why the barakah from the yatim. I keep on asking her. Ya, dia kata, Allah SWT ada janji kalau awak, even Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam kan ada dalam ucapan dia pernah berkata, that you and I will be like that. He shook his finger, right? So that means in Yawm al-Akhirah, inshallah, we'll get the barakah together. So that's what she was trying to emphasize on that. And as I've said, so the root is very important. And then I grew up with that in mind when I was a teacher in Singapore as well as Java. And I still have that in mind. Like wherever I go, if people they don't have enough money, I'll still give them for free education, tuition. Free tuition, and those days, even when I was a teacher, I used to get my students who's about, the position is not, they're not financially stabilized. So they would come to my house as early as 6 o'clock after Fajr prayer, before they go to school. Then I let them, I was teaching them. And my father was very happy with that, and even that was a little absurd, because how can the student will go to a teacher's home early in the morning to study before going to school? And I find it later that it's, of course, it's a little weird, but I would happily enjoy teaching them so that they will become somebody one day. I hope some of my students today, and I heard so, there are a couple of my students that have become somebody today. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, and so my journey there again, talking about my journey to Canada, well actually before going to Canada, I gave my services in Indonesia to teach the anak-anak yatim, the perabatan in Jakarta. And there I was teaching for free too, because those days, I was talking about 40 years ago, and they wanted to pay me only $35 US. And I said, I can imagine taking that money away from them. It's only $35. So I said, no, I will not take your money, because it's too much for me to take it. I mean, it's too much. So Alhamdulillah, and with that I went to Saudi also to pursue my goal of being an English teacher with the royal family. And then I came back, but I had that in mind, that I have to study more of the Western cuisine. I don't know why. I like to be in the Western world, probably just to pursue something in my life that I like cooking, and there's a Western cuisine that attracts me. Then coincidentally, during my internship, I saw the application form, and it was in the email, from the Malay mail, that I saw the advertisement saying that they wanted a special teacher in Montreal. So that's why I left for Montreal. I got it, Alhamdulillah, out of 42 people, because I was an experienced teacher from Singapore and GB. So I left for Montreal way back in 1985. And so Alhamdulillah, I secured a job there, but it was not quite long enough, because I had some mishaps happen, and I didn't like the job because of the food that contains pork. So, but however, Alhamdulillah, I managed to secure the boss that wanted me to stay, because he had a Down syndrome child. So, and then at the same time I met Monsieur, my husband, today. Alhamdulillah, he was there. Yeah, thank you. Until today we are still together. And it's been like 31 years that we got married, Alhamdulillah. And he is the one also that's the driving force, surprisingly, because I told him when he was proposing me, I said that I think you'll be yourself in trouble later. And then he said, he was asking me why. I said, I'm a different person as of today, but I could be changing my lifestyle in the next few years. And he said,
any regret?
No. And he said, so what? So he said, if there are changes, so what? But why can't it change? Then I said, I like to venture more like before, but my parents used to do to feed the needy. And he said, he was looking at me, so you will be paid? I said, I'll be paid by Allah SWT. I showed him and I said, don't worry, we can survive. Although he's an architect, but I didn't want to take advantage, of his kindness. but until today he's still with us, alhamdulillah. He's doing the shopping. It's a shopping man for us. So usually every Thursdays, because our sales will be on Fridays, so on Thursdays he will be doing shopping with me 3-4 hours, and Friday too, before Friday prayer he will be, and then he goes inside to pray, and I'll be outside with with my sales, and after which he will send me home again, alhamdulillah.
Not many husbands would want to do that.
I know.
So let that be a lesson for all your husbands out there.
Inshallah.
Such a very colorful and interesting journey. Let me make a quote here give a quote from the Montreal Gazette.
Yes.
It says that it's a full-time job, whatever you're doing. We'll get into that soon. And she doesn't even get paid for it. What turns you? There was a question in the Montreal Gazette. So you mentioned that your husband is part of the whole consciousness, your consciousness that drives you. But apart from that, do you have any particular dominant factor that actually drives you into whatever charitable works that you have been engaging in for so many years? Is it religion? Is it family values or social values? And by the way, you are a Malaysian icon. That means you are bringing Malaysian values even to Canada. So any of these, or they are equally contributive to you?
Yes, I guess as I've said, because it started from my roots, so I wanted to give back my love to my parents, and of course to Allah SWT. I'm so grateful to Allah SWT giving me my health, and I don't call it wealth, but just enough for me to survive, alhamdulillah. But I'm not rich, but I'm not poor. So that's the best part of it. Feeling not being so rich, but you're not poor, right? Alhamdulillah. And the thing that drives me is because of Allah SWT and also my love for my parents, so that inshallah, they will have a place in Jannah, inshallah. Because it's all because of them. They were the one, the driving force for me to pursue with my dreams and their dreams, inshallah.
It struck a very personal note on me. I have a father who passed away, died relatively young. He was only 60, and I did not have enough time to share my life with him, to repay and return whatever he has given to me to raise me up into the kind of person I am today. But Sister Sabria just gives us a lesson that is a legacy. What we do, the ideals and aspirations of the parents that we live by, that would be actually in remembering our parents. Thank you, Sister Sabria.
Yeah, I think it's not only my parents, but even my grandparents.
Your grandparents.
To that, yes, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, I learned that you have various charity organizations. You have Sister Sabria Foundation, you have Our Second Home, and you're also in the process of establishing the Rangers Orphanage. Could you tell us a little bit of each of these?
Okay, we start with
organizations.
We start with our organization. Here I have SSF, which is called Sister Sabria Foundation, and our mission is to provide nourishment and offer a safe shelter for women in trouble, for abused women, and of course to provide support if they are in dire need of help for counseling and in people with divorce cases.
For Muslim women?
Counseling, it can be for non-Muslim too, but more so for the Muslims, because I guess I can personally talk to their husbands. I make an appointment with the husband, so we'll see outside, and then I try to help them out so that the marriage will survive. And then we also assist vulnerable women, people with psychiatric case. Sometimes they do from time to time hop in, and then I try to be as vulnerable as they can be, and as I try to be supporting in certain ways.
Do you get outside assistance like
Financial
experts?
assistance?
No, in
Oh,
terms of expertise, like you do
Yes.
counseling or psychiatry
Yes,
evaluation.
I do. I have other.
So you work closely with all these?
Yes, we're close, especially with Amal Center in Montreal. It's called Amal Center. And as for the financial support, usually I require Human Concern International. They've been helping me for years on end. It could be around 22, 23 years. And then I have the latest one is National Zakat Foundation. National Zakat, inshallah, will be able to take over our responsibility of running the, what do you call that, transition home, or, you know, better known as transition home, and it's called Our Second Home. I name it Second Home because, so that they will feel good, you know, when they are with me, and they feel comfortable.
It's a transition.
Yes, it's
shelter.
transition is
Yeah.
between, they are allowed to stay between 2 to 3 weeks, but all the same, I always make them sit down and we discuss whether they have a plan B. Or what do you do if I don't accept you, for example? What is your plan B?
I have a plan B here.
Yeah.
In Ipoh.
In Ipoh?
Yeah, but it's a cafe. It's called plan B. When everything fails, you go to plan B. Okay.
So we have this plan B,
Okay.
and I always make them sit down and then arrange for me, and to see where I can fit in to help, and help for how long. Some sisters will stay up to some very vulnerable cases, and they are so financially unstable, so they are allowed to stay, you know, for a long period of time, provided they consider our situation whereby we're not going to pay people to clean up, and so they will chip in to help clean up their place and then even their food, you know. So some people are very, I mean, it's quite obvious that they are a lazy lot sometimes, and then even the food, they ask me, where is my food? I looked at her and said, you asking me to cook for you? And then they need my help, right? I said, you get up from your chair, you help me fix me a bowl of soup, please. And, you know, because I have you here, so that we can work together as a team.
It's not always carrots, sometimes sticks. Yeah?
You see, so sometimes people are funny because they are really in desperate need of help, in dire need of help, and they're very selfish. So there are people who are like that. So, but I put them in the corner. I'll tell them, no, I'm not going to fix for you anything. And the rest said, I thought, you know, to stay here, everything is free. Yeah, it's free, but energy, you have to help me out. Okay. Yeah, so I told her, if you're not happy about it, I give you 2 or 3 days to think about it, and then you can leave. You can find somewhere else. You know, so I was quite strict with them.
So you need to have a certain measure of sternness.
Of course, I have sternness, and I make them sign the contract. Yeah, I make them, because how can I be their maid? You know, when they, you know, their clothes, their things are all messed around as much as their lives, they mess up their life, and even the clothes they take care of in the washroom and in the bedroom. And I was not happy about that, so I put them straight in the corner. So I taught them how to behave themselves and to be grateful to others. Alhamdulillah. So as I said, we have these for our second home, that is for existing vulnerable women, and to have families who are in dire need of help, especially refugees like coming from Syria, and they are very vulnerable, and then and we feed them. We give them free food, free lodging, and even education. I'll call some of those educated enough to teach them French and English.
Do you have any cultural language barriers with all these people whom you are helping?
It depends. Sometimes the Syrians, they only speak Arabic.
But food speaks a universal language.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Of course. And so, alhamdulillah, and sometimes we manage to even learn from them if they're good people.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay. One of the mind-boggling questions that I have is what I call the chicken and egg question. Which comes first, the chicken or the egg? So, for those of us out there who have the idea of starting a charity or charity foundations, for instance, which comes first? You get the fun first, or you start the charitable work first? Because like out of the blues, you get to Canada, do you say, okay, I want to start a charity or charitable work tomorrow? Or does it involve a certain kind of planning, stages? So how do you do that? Many of us would say, you know what, we don't have the fund, so we cannot start anything. So how do you deal with your case, your situation?
Okay, I started with zero. Because my mother-in-law used to, if she goes out, she likes to buy things in bulk. And then I end up like having a lot of bread, having a lot of jam, or if she goes to the countryside, lots of apples, you know, that she buys in big bulks, and onions and garlic. And I keep on telling her, stressing her, Mom, why are you giving it too much for me? I know you're intelligent enough, you'll do something. Then I keep on thinking, yeah, why not? So I started with the sandwiches. So I would do just the egg sandwich first, with the onions, with this, and the bread that she gave me. And then I will go down to the streets in Montreal, in downtown Montreal, and I'll see the homeless, the galandangan, and I'll just hand out the sandwiches. And then I realized that when they know that I'm always there for them, and they keep on asking me, oh, can you give me some clothes? Do you have some clothes? And some of them, winter is coming, can you give me some shoes? Now I'm scratching my head. I only start with sandwiches, and I don't know many people. Now how am I going to go with that? So I went to the mosques, and different mosques, and I asked them, do you have some spare clothes, some spare shoes and sandals? And then she said, yes, we do. We have people giving us. And then I said, okay, I tell you what, do you have some brothers who can help me around? Because I don't have a car, but can we start with the car and bring the clothes and I'll make sandwiches so we can give to the people on the street? And they agreed. The mosque there, especially with the mosque, it's called ICQ. Later on I got married with that. I think I got married first and then I started my work. So it's ICQ, Islamic Center of the Back. They are very nice at the beginning part, and then the Muslim community of the back. That is also, they were wonders. So I get to the level that I get more and more traction because the university students saw me, who is this lady with hijab giving away the food? So they approached me, they said, you know, I have my friends in the MSA, Muslim Student Association in McGill, and then Concordia too, we are very close, and we would like to see how we can help you. So I was so, I was overwhelmed. And then we started the ball rolling. And then with that, we announced to MSA during Jummah prayer, if the people who wants to give Sadaqah Jariyah, or even charity at any time, you know, we are there to receive under the banner of Muslim Student Association. So that's how the ball starts. So we go bigger and bigger. Alhamdulillah. Today we have about 380 volunteers. Yeah, alhamdulillah. Ramadan is coming, they're already doing the work, alhamdulillah.
Do you have any Malaysians over there volunteering with you?
Yes, from time to time, but not many. At one time, that was 30 years ago, we used to have about 70 to 80 Malaysians, and about 30 of them will be helping me. Even I met them a few days ago. Some of them will help me for 28 years, and some 22 years. The Malays went there in McGill, and then we had a gathering lately. And those are the people who are who helped me a lot. With the effort, that's why we were successful, because of the response from the public.
Thank you so much. So I guess it's about the right time now for me to open to the floor. Any of you, please have a conversation with Sister Sabria. Anyone? Yes, you can ask Malay. She will answer Malay. Anybody? Okay, while they're thinking about it, tell us about what is your day-to-day life like? because it seems to be such an onerous task what you're doing, cooking hundreds of meals a day. So how do you divide your time? How do you find time? Getting involved in all these organizations, foundations, at the same time cooking for them. Tell us a bit.
I have to be very alert, and I have to have my agenda, and I have to be very alert of what is going on in my life, that I'm prepared mentally and physically. So I have to be extra careful with my diet so that I don't fall sick. It's important thing is to make sure the program goes on. So if I want to be in the hospital, then the program will be. We cannot continue with the program, right?
So what time do you begin every day in the morning? When do you turn off the light?
I just read an email from a friend who's really, I think it was a sister's day. She was praising so much, and then at the end of which she said, for this particular sister of mine, the shaitan in the early morning, and she gets up, shaitan said, damn it, she's up. And I was laughing, and yesterday she called me and said, where did you get that idea? He said, damn it, the shaitan talked among themselves, damn it, she's up. That means she has something to do, right? For the sake of Allah, alhamdulillah. Yes, usually it's like every Mondays, dealings with the River Siege Church. And that's been going on for 10 years. And I'm pretty sure the means our food, because I cooked usually Asian food, and also their food, spaghetti, lasagna, spaghetti, potatoes,
Asian food do you offer?
Of course, I do from time to time nasi lemak, and they love it, and then I pick nasi.
So we know where to find nasi lemak when we're in Montreal?
Nasi dalcha with
Nasi dalcha?
With the dalcha.
Nasi kerabu?
Nasi tomato. No. Kerabu, I don't know myself how to make it. We don't have the flowers. We don't have the respective flowers. I think they will feel weird that the rice is blue. But we do have nasi tomato, that is very popular, and sharia nasi with the noodles, like long strip of noodles to be added to the rice, and then of course different kinds of chicken. But even noodles are introduced to the Malaysian mihu, and also mihu because they use spaghetti, so it's easy to introduce to them, and of course they enjoy it a lot. And then usually they would ask me, what's your recipe? Can we know? Even the homeless? Very good, they still want to know. And then yeah, that's right. So, but alhamdulillah, and then when they say, how come it's so good? How come when we cook it's not so good? I said, because I cook with love.
Why? Okay, cook with love, and it tastes good. Nothing can go wrong, right?
That's right.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. Do you open up your kitchen to anyone, or just the homeless, the poor, or anyone can just come in and walk in and eat?
My kitchen usually is every Monday. We have specific volunteers who will come and help me clean up, and then off we go to the respective places. But not the homeless. They cannot come in and help us because I'm very, very concerned about the cleanliness.
What I mean is, do you offer the assistance, the food to only the homeless, the poor, or anybody can just enjoy your food, come to your shelter?
There's no problem.
No problem.
No problem.
So that means for us, if you're in Montreal, instead of eating at the hotel, you just go to your kitchen.
But you must remind me first.
We will come in drones since you already opened up to all of us.
Yeah.
Okay. Leave us your address behind so that we can come visit you each time we're in Montreal. Do you have any anecdotes to tell us? Relate to us your high and low points. Anything weird, anything that excites you, anything that saddens you in the course of your work. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I do. When I got this the terrorist, sorry. That is something that I managed to to handle with sheer sincerity and pride as a Muslim. What happened is one day, just in front of the metro, it's called metro. When I say metro, it's LRT, with the train station S. And as soon as I cross the street, there should be a bus stop that leads to my house. So what happened is I saw somebody running and with food in their hands, like both of hands are full of things. She was asking me if the bus already arrived. She saw me crossing. When I looked, I said, no, the bus didn't arrive yet. I said, so it's okay, slow down. It's okay, that means what I meant is she doesn't have to run. And then I put my things right in front because I was the very first one. And then comes, when I looked my second time, I saw the bus coming. So I ran up to her and said, the bus is here, the bus is here. So I grabbed all of her, part of her things. And I don't know how, she could be a Filipino or somewhere, but I don't know exactly who she was. So I took the things away from her so that we can run together to go back to the station. So by the time the bus already arrived, right? So there were already like 8, 9 people behind me. So what happened is, because I was the first one and the second person knows about it, the third and fourth, they know that I was the first person, so I took my stuff and I got up to the bus. I was about to go into the bus and I heard a voice that says, hey terrorists, go back to your country. I was shocked and I looked at him and I said, okay, in the blue cap and blue shirt. You are in for trouble. But because he said out loud, right? And then he said the second time, hey terrorists. And then he said, behave yourself, you know, this is not your country. So I went up, I didn't care. But I put my things aside and the minute I waited for him to come in. Then he was seated, maybe the third or the fourth row, whereas I ended up sitting at the end. So I came up to him and I asked him, excuse me sir. He looked at me and I said, I heard that you call me terrorist. He said, yeah, terrorist. Then you wanted me to go back to my country? And then he said, yeah, back to your country. And then I looked at him and I said, do you know who you're talking to? I'm a Canadian, sir. I just say that, you know, just to make sure everything runs smoothly. And he looked at me. I said, you, sir, I think you are the one who's not a Canadian, sir, because you have no manners. No, Canadians are very well-mannered people. Then, you are not Canadian, sir. Did you tell me to go back to my country? No. And then he looked at me and then I told him on his face, do you know what I'm doing in my life, sir? You don't know. You just saw me with hijab, right? That's why you assume that I'm doing something bad all the time. No, you got the wrong picture here. Because while you're afraid, you're watching TV, smoking, your cigarette, drinking whiskey and brandy, reading newspapers. I'm out there, sir, in the open, in the cold. What do you think? I feed the poor. I go to each and every one in Gikunkodia Metro, there are so many of them there. And would you like to join me? But I told him, I think tomorrow I am coming here. So can you be ready to come with me? I will be 3 or 4 of my friends from the church, the River Stage Church. I told him so. And he looked at me, he was like upset. I've been telling him that what is life. And he said, don't judge a book by its cover, sir. And then he was so fed up with me. He got down from the bus. And he was about to go, and the bus stopped, and people literally was very silent. That's the magical aspect for me to think that all these are non-Muslims. And I was the only one with a job. And then they saw me, and being encountered by this guy, and yet they were silent. So I told him, and finally he went down because of my lecture. So he went out of the bus, and I heard the young voice saying, bravo madam, and yeah,
shaming me proudly.
Yeah, and even the bus driver was saying that, well done madam, well done. You know, so I feel so good and proud being a Muslim. Until today, I'm still proud being a Muslim. So that is my encounter with such a guy. And then another thing, just one thing that saddens me and really what do you call that, motivate me more. This and I repeatedly maybe mentioned about this incident whereby I will never forget in my life, because it was about the incident in the freezer. Yes, I was on that particular day, it was during in summer, where I was invited to be a chef for about 180 students and animators. And then we had to travel so far away, like from Montreal alone, it could be around 7-8 hours drive. So we were in the remote areas where there's only special students will be there. The student MSA, Muslim Student Association of Ottawa. So what happened was, when I looked into my menu, I fell asleep. Then as soon as I get up in the middle of the night, around 2:35, I saw that my menu says the next day should be baked chicken, and baked chicken for the night, for the evening, because in the breakfast time somebody else take over. But I still didn't bring out the chicken, it's still in the freezer. I had to go and collect it, and there were about 4 or 5 boxes. So I went into the freezer, I just tied it over my head, and then I didn't even on the light for the corridor, for the fridge, because I was too sleepy, I said it would disturb my sleep. So what happened is I went inside, and I took the boxes out to put it outside so that it would thaw easily. So I did box 1, box 2, box 3, and then coming out to, I was just about to carry it towards the door, and the door slammed shut. The door of the freezer slammed shut. And you know, in the freezer, if you put something in the freezer, you can feel the cold there and then. So I said, no, astaghfirullah, I was telling myself, look, wait a minute, I have to pray. So if the minute I got this, in my mind, I said, I have to pray. So I did my tayammum, and I prayed in total darkness, and I tried to open. Each time I tried to open, I couldn't bring myself to open the door. Firstly, the door is too heavy. Secondly, it's too thick and heavy, very thick. And then I tried to pry open from inside. There was nothing that I can use, no knives, nothing sharp. And there was nothing at all at the door. There was no doorknob. Usually there are knobs, so we can open from inside. But this is an old-fashioned freezer that they don't have this doorknob. So what happened is, I couldn't go, and each time I go pray again. I went to pray again, straight, I sujood again. And that was the end of which I was really exhausted. And it was really almost 50 minutes. And I said I was desperate for my breath, and I think my life was at stake. Like, I'm really wondering how long more I will be living in this freezer. So thereby, I have my connection there. Then Allah SWT, it was my first was just a normal prayer, and then just for Allah, pleading with Allah SWT to open the door, or stand at His malaikat to open the door. Then I said, Ya Allah, please, Ya Allah, if you think I'll be useful again, please let me out of this freezer. I'm a total mess now. I might be going at any time, but before you take me, I would like to talk to you and plead with you that I have a lot more to go, I have a lot more to do in my life before you really take me, inshallah. But I was pleading with him and say that I remember the Surah Al-Kahf, where 3 guys were stuck in the cave. And for each and every reason, the individual reason, personal reason that they reveal, and then you open the door, the cave, you move the rock, and then leaving space for them to breathe. And the next guy came on. So I guess you know the story, the Surah Al-Kahf. And then I said to the 3rd one, and I said, if you can help them before, obviously you can help me, because if you think I'm good for the society, and really worthwhile for me to live, please open the door for me, because I have lesser time now. I'm going anytime now because I can hardly breathe now. So I did the sujood again and up again and ask Allah, please forgive me, Ya Allah, if I've done everything wrong or nothing, you know, in your path that can stop you from forgiving me. And then I asked again for my parents. I was pleading for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you believe what they did was right, what my parents did were good for the society. And I asked Allah again and again, if you think you have more job for me in the future, I promise you I will carry on with that. So please Allah, help me out from this freezer, otherwise I'm going to die within minutes. And I went again, so that was the 16th time that I tried, and the door just right open. A little, just enough for me to be out from the freezer. Of course I did my sujood right after, when I come out from the freezer, and thanking him, you know, and I know, I said, you have hurt me, and I believe that you hurt me, and I'll continue with my work. I promise you, I'll continue with my work. So till today, alhamdulillah, you know, whoever is listening to me, this is my plea. Just if you pray with sincerity. Pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He will listen to you. Make this connection. Make this sincere connection and tell Him that what you have done is just for Him. Inshallah, you will survive forever, whatever reasons and whatever way you wanted it to be. Inshallah. Thank you.
Before I continue, I'd like to revisit the audience. Please, anyone? Do you have any interesting questions? Yes, please, sir. Speak over the microphone there. Yes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Yurus Husna. I'm an intern from RTM. In the press release here stated that you were attacked, that you were struck by stroke in 2004 and 2005, and it was 2 times. So my question is, what keeps you going after you had stroke for 2 times, and can you share the experience of you helping the victims of tsunami back in Indonesia? And another one, sorry, there's a lot of questions. Another one, in the same bio it stated that you had 18 members in your household, and my question is, how do your family take it? Thank you.
Jazakallah.
Are the questions okay for you?
Yes, but I would like to just one more first. You were mentioning about tsunami victims. Way back, I think in 2000, was it 2005? Tsunami, 2004 at the end of December 2004. And I was at the RIS conference, RIS Revival Islamic Spirit in Toronto. And at the end of the program, they mentioned about the tsunami, and that Indonesia was badly hit with the tsunami, victim of many dead. And then so is Malaysia. So I was shocked. Like, you know, when I went back to Montreal, the first thing I did is to on TV to see their news, and even from Malaysian news. And I found that I think Penang was a bit, I think it was in Penang? Okay. So anyway, I went to the university the next day, pleaded with them if they can do something about it, because there's so many deaths in Indonesia. And when MSA students heard about my plight, and then I said, in maybe 1 week or 10 days, we have to have this to get going so that we can finance these victims and be of help from Montreal. So what happened was, I managed to get the chocolate factory to buy me to sell me just a bar of chocolate for only 25 cents. We managed to sell $2 each bar. So we went on the street, the university students, they were so happy to help us and to go around in the street of Montreal, and usually, middle of town and all this stuff, and other places, even to schools. We said we managed to get the amount that we require. And so I was very, very tired. That particular night, there were about 1,000 people who came to University in Cambodia, and we were cooking in the university, the premises, the kitchen. There's a big kitchen there, and I had all the Indonesians to come and help me. So we managed to secure 250,000, and people would give all the jewelries, and they were crying, and we had some pictures of the tsunami victims and all this. So alhamdulillah, we got about 250,000 Canadian. So later on, we heard that the government can match that 2,500, so that means it's 500,000. And with that, we're able to buy mobile clinic, but we bought about 18 mobile clinic for that purpose, alhamdulillah. But coming back to the story where I got my stroke, so as soon as I get back, I told my husband that, you know, I really prayed in the university, so don't wake me up. I'm going to sleep now because I have very little sleep, so I really don't want to be disturbed. So when my husband did not disturb me with my sleeping, and I managed to sleep so well, and I told him when I got up, I said, how I slept so well, how many days how many hours did I sleep? He said, it's not hours, look at the time here. It was on the 7th of January, and now, I looked at the time, it was 7/8, because it was when I came back, it was 12:30, so it was 8 of January, and then I realized that it was 11th morning that I got up. And then when I questioned him, I said, why did you wake me up for my prayer? I was so upset with him. I said, my prayer is very important to me. And then he said, no, I thought, you know, when I went out, you must have got up for your prayer. So anyway, this was an argument. And so after a few, maybe about around 1.5 years later, so I felt something funny when I was pressing my clothes to go to I already had my second home at that time, the transition home, and I felt a little heavy on my head, like something was fighting and moving around my head. And so I said, what is this? You know, I thought it was ants, but they were not ants, I couldn't find. And I said, it must be stroke. I said, you know, so I was dancing around so that it wouldn't attack me. But it became worse, and I think for people who are hearing, this is what the signs are. So you have to be extra careful if you feel the movements, you know. For no reason you feel that something is moving in your body, right? This is very important. We have to go right away to check with the doctor. So what happened is it became worse, and my husband called the taxi and ambulance, and the ambulance came and brought me to the hospital. Of course, before that, I was speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I said, please, you know I've been asking you too much. The other time I had this problem and you made me survive. But this is another time that you are challenging me. You are, you're trying to tell me, I know that you love me and you want me to face this challenge. So what happened is when the ambulance came, and I still remember many things, and when I was brought up to the ambulance and arrived there on time for the brain scan, and alhamdulillah, they put me in the brain scanning, but I was doing a lot of dua with my fingers or with shows that I was really praying because I was facing death. I thought I was facing death. So when it came out, the doctor was saying that it's funny. They said that two of us found out that did you ever face a stroke? Then I said no. He said yes, because we saw the blood clot in your brain. That indicates that something happened to you before. Like then let us trace, like for how long? He said it could be another 1.5 years ago that you had the stroke. Then I said, did you face anything as yet? I said no. And then I didn't feel anything since then. Then he said, oh, it must be the stroke because did you remember sleeping well? I said yes. And did your husband complain that you were snoring or what? I said yes. I was snoring. Actually, I was in a deep coma at that time. That was 1.5 years before. That was my first stroke, he said. Now, this second one, this is your second TIA. That means to show sign that is coming, is recurring. So, but the brain says that my brain is really actively functioning because of all the zigzagging he said. But by the way, what did you do? What did you read? Because we saw your hands like that all the time, and your hands were moving, and your brain is working so well. I said, oh, I'm making my connection with Allah. That's how I told him, I'm making my connection with God, Allah. And then he said, really? Oh, this is the second time I heard. Because before there was a nun who was like you, and she said she made a connection with a God. So I guess, you know, it's very, very crucial that to the brink of death, you really have to think of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah, you will have a place where Allah will, you know, will help us through doubt, you know, for whatever reasons, inshallah. Yeah?
So going back to the question of the sister.
That was the stroke.
She was asking, despite your stroke.
Yes.
And after that, what has been keeping you going?
Yes, because as I said, because of my belief, my strong belief with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because I know Allah is watching, and Allah is delivering His whatever He wants, you know, for us to function in this world. So I guess He has a place for me to do something more, and for that, with that, I make myself stronger, and I don't feel anything else but to strengthen my belief with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and all the blessings that they have given me, and with great gratitude that I sujood all the time for any little things. I go straight to the ground and say, Shukr Alhamdulillah, thank you Allah for giving me all these blessings, Alhamdulillah.
No, before I forget and before I go back to the audience, you mentioned Riverside Church.
Yes, Rivers Edge.
Oh, Rivers Edge Church. And you mentioned about working with the Christians and possibly the Jews. How was the reception? Or how were the receptions coming from all these non-Muslim communities? And how do you yourself regard them? Anything to share with us here? Because it's very uncommon for us here. And probably if we have non-Muslims in this hall, you know, so that they can understand that Islam is just like any other religion, that we reach out to people not on the basis of their faith, but on the basis of sharing a common bond of humanity. Could you elaborate on that?
I think first of all, it started with ourselves. Like, what do you want in your life? How do you do? How do you pursue things? How do you perceive yourself? Do you really enjoy what you are doing? Do you do it for yourself or for Allah? Because if you do it for yourself, it will just only temporary. But if you do for Allah, it will be towards the end of your life, right? But there again, when I do that, I said I will do it only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thereby, I'm pretty sure Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send malaikat around me, so that I won't be in trouble, right? Because we are doing for Him, we are servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And with that, as I go into the church, I always, of course, when I read, even when I cook, I always start with Allah, and also I start with the dua, may Allah accept my way of doing things, and at the same time, may these people, you know, be happy with what I cook and feel good about it. That's why when you see what's a secret, there's no secret except for, you know, cooking with love and passion, compassion, and obviously this type of things, when they saw me, and then even I know the signs that they also tolerating. When I felt sick, all these homeless people, they came to the hospital. And they, not only the homeless, the coordinators, the church donators, even the rabbis and the Sikh and the ones who were dealing with the Hindus, Chinese, they came to the hospital and they sent me flowers and sent me to tell them that, you know, they are there for me too. So when I am out of the hospital, when I questioned them, jokingly I was telling the crowd in the church, I said, what if somebody attacked me? What if one of those bad ones attacked me? What are you guys going to do? Oh, we'll be backing you. Don't worry. We will do anything that can save them. Then we are for you. So I feel so good and so happy with their response, and because that's the same thing about me, where I'm willing to do anything for them, in spite of the race.
What about the Muslims? Was there any resistance? Seeing you reaching out to the non-Muslims, so probably they might be thinking, hey, why are you not focusing on the Muslims alone? Why are you wasting your time with the non-Muslims? How would you say that?
There was one incident. There was a sister who called me and said, hey sister, I heard that you're cooking for the church. Why don't you cook for us, for the mosque? Because there are many poor people too. I said, okay. So can you help me out? You could find out which mosque, because I called the 8 mosques and 4 churches. All the 4 churches were responding to my call. They came and discussed with me what are the days to cook, what are the things that they can supply, and what I can do with my volunteers and where to cook. But the Muslims, until today, they said the mosque isn't responding. Not even one mosque responded. Because when I asked them, when I asked for help, why don't you help me? What you can easily say, oh, it's too much work, and then the mosque will be dirty, the people now they are homeless or they're needy, they will dirty the mosque, then will be too much work. But the Christians didn't complain. They had their own committee. I said, why don't you organize and have your own committee, for that particular time, so that things will run smoothly. So I said, now that the sister was asking me, I said, why don't you help me? By going to the mosque and ask them again. Until today, she didn't call me. but I wouldn't say, look, maybe it's us who should be really organizing better and have make more connections and know more of each other. And then we will have that love we can put across, inshallah.
Let me just check with the organizer. Do I still have time? Do I still have a little time? Okay, let me go back, revisit the audience. Anyone with another question? Yes, please, sir.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera. Saya perkenalkan diri saya. Nama saya Abdul Salim Putra, berkhidmat dengan Yayasan Bina Upaya Darul Ridzuan. Ada 2 soalan untuk Ibu Sabariah. Saya rasa lebih seronok panggil Ibu. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Untuk pengetahuan Ibu Sabariah, Yayasan Bina Upaya Darul Ridzuan telah wujud daripada tahun 2010 sehingga sekarang. Yayasan ini untuk membantu rakyat-rakyat yang miskin atau rakyat yang susah di dalam negeri Perak. Salah satu produk yang kami ada untuk membantu masyarakat adalah kotak makanan. Setiap bulan kami akan provide kepada keluarga-keluarga yang susah di sekitar Perak, di seluruh negeri Perak, 1 kotak makanan untuk mereka. Okey. Dan kita juga ada satu sukarelawan, unit sukarelawan yang kita adakan, kita buat untuk membantu mereka-mereka ataupun bencana, bencana apabila ada bencana. Soalan pertama saya nak tanya Ibu Sabariah, bagaimana Ibu meyakinkan volunteers yang Ibu ada semasa permulaan Ibu nak buat perkara ni? Macam mana?
Can you let her answer that first?
Okay. So macam mana Ibu meyakinkan mereka-mereka ni untuk membantu Ibu?
Firstly, mula-mula sekali kita nak kaji diri kita sendiri dulu. Apakah kita bersedia nak mengatasi masalah tu, bersedia. And secondly, itu bermaknanya kalau kita memang dah bersedia, kita mestilah sanggup jadi follower daripada leader juga. Leader is a good leader, is a good follower. Bermakna kita bekerjasama. Kita bukan jadi bos di satu corner and order. Tapi kita yang buat kerja yang paling-paling berat. Umpamanya kadang saya kena tak tidur malam, kena nak buat ayam tu, nak marinate ayam. Kalau ayam datang lambat, jadi bila volunteers ni dia kesian dengan kita, dia akan tolong lebih gigit sebab dia tahu kita ambil alih yang kerja-kerja yang terberat sekali.
Kita kena beri contoh.
Ya, beri contoh pada mereka yang kita ni berusaha untuk sama-sama berusaha. Jadi daripada itu mereka pun datanglah sifat apa, not selfish, unselfish, untuk selfless, untuk tolong sama supaya kerja ini berjaya. Satu lagi saya nak terangkan kenapa saya lebih senang kalau dipanggil Sister Sabria, kerana tenaga-tenaga muda ni, kan orang-orang muda ni banyak lebih tenaga daripada kita. Jadi kalau satu force semua ada tenaga, kalau dipanggil saya nenek atau granny atau ibu saya dah rasa tua, jadi saya tak boleh sama-sama nak angkat apa ke apa. Jadi mereka semua memang apa secara spontan panggil saya Sister Sabria, walaupun dia kecil-kecil lagi.
Dia saya question.
Okey kakak.
Sis is better.
Pasal saya cakap dalam bahasa Malaysia, so saya panggil kakak Sabariah ya. Okey, soalan kedua kakak, seperti kakak baru cerita sebentar tadi, masjid-masjid di Canada kan, tidak langsung bagi sambutan untuk membantu kakak. Saya maafkan saya cakap benda ni lah, saya nak minta maaf dulu di Malaysia pun masjid ada banyak peruntukan di Malaysia satu masjid kadang-kadang ada 100,000 duit mereka dalam tabung masjid. Tapi dekat Malaysia ni pun sepatutnya kita buat macam kakak Sabariah buat di Canada. Setiap masjid tu kalau kita ada bajet, apa salah setiap hari Jumaat kita beli beras, kita beli gula, kita beli lauk makanan siapkan di masjid tu, daripada kita menunggu pisang. Orang datang sedekah bagi pisang, orang-orang bersorangan. Jadi pada saya, cadangan saya lah, ni untuk orang-orang yang tetamu yang ada hari ni, kalau pun ada AJK masjid, saya nak bagi cadangan untuk macam Kak Sabria bagi tahu ni, di Kanada pun benda masjid ni dia fikiran ni banyak masih dalam kotak. Tapi kalau kita dapat mulakan di Malaysia ataupun di Perak, masjid-masjid ni yang mana ada peruntukan, kita sediakan makanan untuk orang-orang yang memerlukan di kawasan karya masjid kita. Okey, Kak, satu lagi ni, saya ni daripada yayasan di salah satu yayasan di negeri Perak ini. Jadi saya nak tanya, apakah foundation Sister Sabariah boleh bantu kami yayasan Ben Upaya di Perak ini? Terima kasih.
Sama. So mana tahu insya-Allah satu ketika nanti kami lebih what do you call that, stabilize ourselves here. Sebab yang kami utamakan sekarang ni ada sebuah rumah anak yatim yang bakal kami dirikan di Kota Tinggi, insya-Allah, dengan harga dengan selebar sebesar 3 ekar. Dan insya-Allah pejabat kadi akan berurusan. Mudah-mudahanlah doakan kami dapat restu daripada orang-orang tertentu untuk percepatan lagi sudah menyuratnya. Dari itu mungkin butuhkan banyak dana. Jadi di Kanada juga saya adakan fundraising dinner. Tahun lepas saya telah mencapai 200,000 Canadian. Jadi kalau di sini kira-kira 700,000 ringgit. Di samping itu juga bila luasnya media coverage, mungkin kami dapat cari yang lebih mungkin lebih lagi lah, lebih lagi insya-Allah. Saya akan insya-Allah how do I say, saya terima award nanti insya-Allah pada 17 bulan di Montreal. Dengan cara itu juga kita dapat perluaskan pertolongan kita kepada semua lapisan masyarakat, insyaAllah. Dan mungkin mana tahu satu ketika nanti dah capai tahap yang saya boleh memberi. Ya, dari buat ketika ini saya tidak boleh ladan diri, macam mana pun boleh satu hari kita usahakan juga. And then itulah rasa saya, cita-cita saya tu memang agak besar. Jadi kalau dapat pertolongan dari masyarakat Malaysia juga, saya agak begitu bangga lah dengan adanya orang-orang tertentu di Malaysia ini mungkin yang dapat menolong saya mengatasi masalah yang berada di Malaysia, insyaAllah.
Terima kasih, Tuan. Maybe let me wrap up with the last question.
Yes.
What would be your hope and aspiration for the future, for your foundations and also for Perak, for Malaysia? And what would be your advice to Muslims, non-Muslims in Perak and in Malaysia, and especially the young?
Okay, firstly I would like to touch on the religious issues, not necessarily religion, but I mean with different faith. I think we have to live harmoniously and peacefully and with respect for one another. So we just don't expect the other party to respect us, but we should also know their well-being and respect their part of their life as being maybe a Christian or a non-Muslim. So with that respect, then there is a tendency they're going to listen to us more than ever, because we have respect for them. Like for me, being a minority, I go to the church and I go to many churches, the Unity Church, Anglican Church, and Riverside Church. And there is no problem at all for me to mingle with them, because each time I see the priest too came out and say even sometimes they say salam. Salam sister, salam sister, how are you? Then because I call him father, so then I said, father, how are you? So in this way, because of his title, I don't consider him my father, but still out of respect that he got fulfilled within his own community. And then because maybe thinking that because I'm a Muslim and with our way of living is a little different, but he still respect me by calling me, not by my name, but calling me sister. So we respect one another, firstly. And secondly, what's your question again? How to go about? Advice for the youth? Yeah, as I said, we have to respect. Yeah, my hope, inspiration to see a harmonious Malaysia. Because from far, I'm always hearing the news, and sometimes I feel saddened by the sad reports. Like I was approached by one reporter, I can't remember, it could be Malaysia or Straits Times, and they called me there on Skype. And she was literally asking me, what do you think about this incident that happened in the church, that the Muslims are not allowed to have iftar with us, or there was a threat? And I said, I just cut it short. I said, I'm not aware of that, firstly. Secondly, I was not there to witness, so I cannot judge. I cannot be the judge. And I said, but however, I said, I advise that everybody should be good neighbors with even the non-Muslims or Muslims. Even the non-Muslims should be good to the Muslims, especially they have these, in everywhere in the world, if you are the majority, the minority always feel that they're being penalized for no reason. That is natural. So we, on the other side, when we being the majority, we give them a little space. Like if we give them a little space, then they respect for us. Otherwise, they always will accuse us of not being fair. And that's not nice too, because we are fair. That's why we are in our country. But, I shouldn't say it out loud like that, but that's how it goes in every country, right? So hopefully, to the youngsters, the youth out there, instead of loitering around and don't know what to do, just go to any NGOs, and then the NGOs also play an important role by making it more attractive. the role that they're going to play, not just, oh, carry this thing every month, every other time when they come, carry this box, carry that box. No? Make them feel, make it like something that they enjoy. Like now, SSF is also with other organizations, they're playing hockey. Hockey and also hockey ice they have there, and also bowling. The latest one was bowling, and it should be on the 12th and the 12th of May. There should be bowling before Ramadan. So before Ramadan, I make them, we have a meeting, and then we see how serious are the jobs, their respective jobs that I'm going to put them into. So I delegate other people, not just me, otherwise I'll be dead tired. So I delegate the ones who are older or seniors who already have experiences with me, and I make them, be in charge of salad, for example, or rice, or meat. But I will take the overall. I take care of that, and I make sure I do the hardest job, the most difficult one, like with the meat, with the chicken. You have to cook curry so it won't spoil, something like that. So always the younger generation, instill into yourself the love, the compassion for everybody and for the work that you're going to do. Like, what do you like? For example, you can do the volunteer work, but somebody cannot just put you there just because you do volunteering. But you have to like the thing that you're doing, so that in this way, slowly but surely, you're going forward, and not just withdraw yourself and just disappear from the community work. You see? So we have to scrutinize them also as to what kind of work they enjoy most. And then we get more of that nature, and it's easier that way, inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, we've come to a close of our very exciting, illuminating, and spiritualizing session, I would say. What Sister Sabria has shared with us bodes very well with the objectives of the World Conference of Islamic Thought on securing the future. So, from her side, from her perspective, she has given us a glimpse of what she hopes to have as part of our effort to secure the future, and that is interreligious, intercultural, intercommunal networking and cooperation. And we do not necessarily have to be very academic, very in this matter, but food speaks a universal language, music, culture, they all speak universal language. So with that, I want to once again thank Sister Sabariah. Please give a round of applause to her. Sister Sabariah, thank you so much. We're very privileged to have you. And we hope you will come back and teach us and share with us. Yes, Sabariah. And no regrets coming to here. It's a wonderful place. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Baraharidri. I'm not sure if I speak the Malay perfectly well, but said, what should I say? Saya begitu kagum dengan kehadiran tuan dan puan-puan semua.
With that, once again, I would like to thank all of you for having come over and share with Sister Sabria. Again, thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih kepada Sister Sabria dan juga Datuk Roslan. Hadirin yang berbahagia sekalian, sebelum majlis kita berakhir, ada sedikit yang ingin dikongsikan oleh Sister Sabria, satu dokumentari. Saksikan.
Today is special, because of Easter. Okay, Rob, so you can expect us around 5. Okay? Okay, bye. Thank you. Bye. Every Monday, we cook for the church, which is where they are feeding homeless and needy families. So I have some girls before and they will come and help me. Like today, you see that they were helping me in preparation for afterwards later. Even if you go to bigger early in the morning, I said, what am I going to do today? Like, who did I promise? Who am I going to help today? Oh, see?
Yeah.
This my sister was a caterer.
So it's all in the family, cooking for others.
Yeah, we have a lot. My late parents, they always open the doors for people in trouble and prayer teams, orphans, and they even some of them until today to become like my brothers and sisters. And so I'm used to this kind of environment when I was young. I run a shelter for women in trouble. I have 2 rooms here, and this can accommodate about 4 people. This is another room, and with 2 people can accommodate here. And even sometimes they come with a sleeping bag. The children, we give them sleeping bag. This is another place where they can stay here for a couple of days. Once I know they are secure somewhere, then I let them go. I have a small collection of food for the needy. It's like a food bank, a small one. A mini food bank. Sometimes they call me, I need your help. I need food now. I don't have food in my house. I say, okay, come and I fix them in boxes. I think this is a total mess. We have a lot of things here that is to be given away. So there's some clothes. This is for Syria. We'll call a group of girls or a number of girls to come and help me sit down and fold them nicely. Inshallah. Tumpah. Okay. And sometimes we visit people in the hospital and they're dying, and they're my friends who are working in the hospital. They call me and then they say, please, she has no family and she's dying. And then we come and we teach her Shahada, to teach the rituals in Muslim facing death. Usually she would be ever so happy to have somebody at least before her death. You still have somebody? You can go first. Can you go first, please? And we'll come in 5 minutes. We'll come back 5 minutes later.
How are you viewed by imams?
This is interesting because, I was thinking about it because I have no problem with them. Okay, you have to people in the mosque, sometimes not necessarily the imam, even the caretaker can be very harsh. So, but me, as you said, I've got this strong personality. I don't take no for an answer. It's amazing sometimes, the way they reacted. When I ask for help, when I said, brothers, I really need your help. And then they will quickly come to me and say, what kind of help is that? So I just have to fall here and there, and they solve the problem for me. Something better, and somebody help with the baby. This is also a good opportunity for me to show to the world that we as Muslims, we are tolerant also. Like we want to do our best, and we love others too, and we care for our neighbors. You don't want to eat? You want me to prepare you? Sure. Get me a plate. More potatoes?
I'm ready.
You need more?
We have 20.
Ready?
Yeah.
Voila. Done. So these people, rich or poor, they are my neighbors. So I have to consider, whether they have enough food before they sleep. Are they hungry? So this is one of the reasons why I'm in the church, to help them, because the church is quite, it's just 5 minutes drive from my place.
Are you happy?
They can mingle with the others and to understand better of their lives, and then to also, in a way, to put things in perspective so that they will have respect for us too as Muslims. I'm very, very happy with the response that I received, because maybe they saw me, this is the first time they said they have somebody going to the church and cooking for them. Many times they told me that we've been blessed to have you here. So I really appreciate that. It's honoring our position as a Muslim here. And I really like the company of these people. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy seeing the smiles of people's faces.
Boleh sama-sama kita berdiri dan kita berikan tepukan paling gemuruh buat Sister Sabria atas sumbangan beliau. Dan seterusnya majlis menjemput Sister Sabria untuk turun dari pentas utama bagi sesi bergambar bersama-sama Yang Berhormat Menteri Besar Perak Darul Ridzuan dan juga Yang Berbahagia Datin Sri Diraja. Dipersilakan. Dan diminta kepada semua sekalian untuk sama-sama bergerak ke hadapan dan rapat-rapatkan saf. Tak boleh? Jurugambar boleh terus naik ke atas pentas. Jurugambar di atas pentas. Hari sekalian dimohon untuk bergerak ke hadapan. Silakan kepada semua hadis sekalian untuk sama-sama kita bergerak ke hadapan untuk sebagai tanda kenangan bersama Sister Sabria. Kita cukup berdoa kerana beliau hadir ke negeri Perak, khususnya bagi Ipoh, untuk bersama kita pada hari ini. Okey, kita freestyle.
Banyak. Absolutely. For this, she had to be see like yeah. Tak bagaimana kan?
Terima kasih. Dengan itu juga maka berakhirlah sudah Majlis Executive Talk with Sister Sabria Compassion Without Border pada hari ini. Bagi pihak Majlis Perangkat dan Dutaan, terima kasih kepada semua yang terlibat dalam menjayakan majlis pada hari ini. Untuk itu, maju silakan Yang Berhormat Menteri Besar Perak dan juga Sister Sabria untuk ke sesi senam media sosial kemanjaman diri berhormat. Dan untuk maklumat kepada sekalian yang ingin mengikuti lebih lanjut tentang Sister Sabria, pada petang jam 2.30 petang boleh ke Universiti Sultan Azlan Shah pada jam 2.30 petang. Dan kepada sekalian boleh silakan ke lobi arah yang sama untuk sesi jamuan. Terima kasih.
Beliau dianggap sebagai antara di Kanada mereka menganggap beliau sebagai Mother Teresa dari segi sumbangan, gerak kerja beliau dan sebagainya. Dan alhamdulillah mendengar daripada apa yang disampaikan oleh Sister Sabariah juga dia mengilhamkan kita akan beberapa perkara yang sangat penting. Antaranya adalah bagaimana kerja-kerja secara berkebajikan ini dan memberikan secara kesukarelawanan ini adalah suatu yang besar, dan kita sebenarnya memerlukan golongan-golongan seperti ini yang berada di lapangan untuk memberikan perkhidmatan kepada rakyat, kepada masyarakat di mana saja mereka berada. Ini satu benda yang cukup besar dan dia perlu menjadi panduan dan ikutan oleh generasi muda. Yang keduanya, bagaimana hidup dalam lingkungan masyarakat yang berbagai agama yang sebenarnya bukan menjadi penghalang besar, malah kita dapat hidup dalam keadaan yang selesa, yang sempurna, asalkan kita memiliki sifat-sifat dipanggil compassion ataupun compassion dalam diri kita terhadap orang lain, sifat-sifat rahman, sifat-sifat rahim terhadap orang lain. Dan ini merupakan satu yang sangat membanggakan bagi saya sendiri mengikuti dan membaca kisah Sister Sabria ini dengan perjalanan beliau untuk memberikan kepada masyarakat, kepada rakyat di mana saja, khususnya dalam konteks Kanada. Dan ini sebenarnya memberikan inspirasi besar kepada kami di negeri Perak, dan saya telah mengarahkan supaya beliau dibawa ke sini untuk berkongsi pengalaman dan pandangan beliau tentang apa yang beliau lakukan dan bagaimana untuk memberi inspirasi kepada generasi kita di negeri Perak agar mengikuti jejak langkah Sabariah kita. Jadi saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada beliau yang begitu kental sifatnya dan terus memberikan khidmat. Semoga Allah memberkati usaha-usaha beliau dan diberikan tempat yang sebaik-baiknya di sisi Allah satu hari nanti.
Boleh saya cakap sikit? Kami diusas lepas membaca dan mendengar apa yang disampaikan oleh Sister Sabariah tadi, sama dengan apa yang dislogankan oleh MP kita, iaitu tidak ada orang tertinggal atau terpinggir. Dan Sister Sabariah ada menulis kalau boleh tak ada orang tidur malam, kelaparan dan juga kebimbangan. Jadi kata-kata itu sangat kuat.
Yeah, we have a state tagline. We call it "No one's left behind." It's a real clear call for all of us. But what we have to be determined to reach out to people. So we've been doing that. Of course, living in the political world, there are people out there sometimes are very critical about it. But it's okay. Don't worry about that. As much as you are also facing the same thing. Some form of cynicism, critical of what you are doing, your experience also in your own way, and we have all the same thing. But at the end of the day,
I think I should correct the situation earlier. I said that some of the mosques in response, not all mosques, even today. What I did is to make sure that we have all the leaves of the mosque, like when Sister Sabria launched Sabria Foundation. I mean, when we see Sabria Foundation, we got all the mosques involved. So we know the mosques are going to receive the money from the people. And we got our National Zakat Foundation, who is going to help out. You know, for us, it's very important. National Zakat Foundation is backing me with my child, the transition rule. And with that, we need the people's response through the mosque. So I call the mosque people, and then we list all the names of it, and then we say, for example, in January, how many mosques involved? That means if we come up with 200, 300, 200, it doesn't matter if you have 5 or 6 mosques. That means we covered part of our expenses. You see, so it's important to delegate somebody to be involved with this kind of activities with the mosque. Let the mosque get involved. Let's send the youth, like we say, now we're going to have a bowling session on the 12th. It's a bowling session with other organizations that involve with the people dealing with food. But still, we go in one goal, one channel, that the volunteers are happy to be helping us because they have other activities to do.
In Ramadan, the volume will come to like 100 over 1,000 recipient in Ramadan.
Oh yeah, because in one day we cook for about 500 to 600 people. Then we have 30 days or 26 days, because the 4 days in the week that we are feeding we should be feeding the refugees, the Syrian refugees. But what I did, because I've been working for 5 years, standing role for so many hours, so by the end of the week, I'll be a little exhausted. So what I did, I delegate my friends. If they can give just once a week with biryani, for example. So if one person can cook for 4 people cooking, and I just come up with something smaller, and my volunteers will be so difficult for them to follow us. So we delegate something, and then in this way everything is done in a perspective.
Okay.
Dr. Shui nak tanya, untuk WCIT ni ada sisi Sabariah dijemput ke?
Actually, originally we wanted her to come. Unfortunately, because she's leaving for Hajj.
Yes.
In July.
August, but my Hajj is in August the 2nd.
So that's why we invite her for what we call pre-launch of our WCIT. So she's here today as part of WCIT's programs. So we will highlight your presence.
Thank you very much. And who knows, maybe one of my representatives can come.
Why not? Yeah, it's good.
I'll see.
That would be good.
And then also in December, I might come again because of my project.
Right.
Put the team here, alhamdulillah. Sure. Inshallah, with the higher authorities' help, maybe we can easily, maintain the standard of the application forms and this so that we can go faster. Inshallah.
Thank you. So, okay. Let me know in advance so that I can make the